Hello everybody, it's vanburman here and welcome back to Football Manager 2017. Now there may be a little bit of a disjointancy between my talking because it's actually been a very long time since I played the Arsenal-West Ham match. And actually I actually recorded this episode previously, so I've had to go back and I lost the save, you see, so I had to go back and play it all through. But the results are roughly still about the same, to be fair. So, since I've also reinstalled, I've also got this tactical familiarity thing. I need to go through and change those filters to not look how they were, but have a rejig of them and see which ones I actually want. I'm not really too fussed about the familiarity. I think the overall familiarity for me is good enough. But coming to this game against West Ham, it was a really high-scoring game, actually. So we've got quite a few goals to show you in this one, which is nice. And one of the things I will say is it was very entertaining to watch. A little bit nerve-wracking at times because it could have gone either way, this one, so to speak. Actually, and that is, I've got to say, one of the themes that runs throughout the whole of this episode. We've been quite lucky, in fact, to do as well as we did, I feel, at times. So it was a fairly good finish by Chamberlain. He's actually been playing fairly well recently, which is nice to see. And Alexis is doing good on the wing as well. There's a really nice header in by Icardi. So you turn up after half hour, you start thinking, this could be any score, if we carry on playing like this. But the thing about West Ham is they always look a threat, and it's a really good finish, to be fair, by Berahino. Just really good play, in all honesty. And unfortunately, if you let the opposition get back in before half-time, it puts a sully on the whole of the first half performance, which is unfortunately what it did with us. But, having said that, nice little goal took away there by Icardi, and I think, does Icardi score this one as well? Don't see how he can. No, Alexis. But Icardi turning provider there as well. I mean, Icardi played amazingly well in the whole of that game, but the second half was a lot more one-sided compared to the first half. We did sort of throw away the first half a little bit, but Icardi got man of the match in this particular game, and you can't complain with how well he's been performing recently. I'd like to see him do a bit more against the bigger teams, to be fair, but yeah, I can't complain. Him and Sanchez seem to be working really well at the moment, which is good to see, from my point of view anyway. So now we're going on to the next match, which is against Hull in the EFL Cup, so the League Cup. And this one's a little bit different because I've actually recorded this one today before I do the video. That's normally how I do it, do all the recording on the same day and then do my voice on the same day as well, so I know what I'm talking about. So this time I decided to I couldn't really be bothered to pick the team, so I just thought I'd do a full rotation. Didn't really realise that I'd picked a fairly strong defence, actually, but it just gave chance for some other players to get a run out. I was more looking along the lines of who hadn't had many appearances and just trying to give them a game. So we had David Utteridge playing. Telemann's got a run out. Walcott and the Ox, I believe. Asier Villarabra. I'm never going to be able to pronounce that guy's name correctly, am I? Midland Niles as well, and Callum Chambers. So, unfortunately, I didn't really realise it, but I didn't have many. There aren't many defensive players in my team, to be fair. I was going to say any defensive players on the bench, I suppose, because Callum Chambers is in that role, but he's playing at right back. So, oh well. So this game was interesting from my point of view anyway, because it's always good to see the players that don't get to play very often have a bit of a run out and see how well they do. Mainly sort of looking at my two central midfielders. They're the 2 points of interest, and the two wingers as well, because Theo and the Ox have really got very stiff competition when it comes to your Griezmanns and your Sanchez's, because how are they going to get into the team, really? At some points, you might look at them. But it's a really good pass there by Walcott and a great finish by Villarabla, whatever you want to call him. I don't know why the game just manically slowed down then for some reason. It doesn't make much sense, but regardless, what was that guy doing star jumps on the side of the pitch? I didn't even notice that before. I'm sure there was something there to talk about, but I've forgotten anyway. So in this game, and if it's the wrong in this game it was very tight from what I remember, and we could have had a couple of goals, to be fair. And it's one of those ones where it's only 1-0 up, but there's always the opportunity for you to be able to, concede a weak one. Luckily we didn't. I was actually quite relieved that I chose a strong defence in that particular game. Czech picked up an injury right near the end of the match, dislocated his shoulder while he was tipping a ball over the crossbar. So he's out for basically 2 weeks, which isn't such a big deal. I mean, I should have really played Donnarumma anyway, but it just means that Donnarumma will get a few more games now in a row, because it sort of forces my arm, doesn't it? But we're coming up against West Brom, the Hawthorns. West Brom are actually doing really well so far this season. They're on the same points as we are currently. So a win, well, we'd have to win by 7 goals to go top, but the win would put us level on points with Manchester City at the top of the table. So I made a couple more changes around. I wanted to, even though West Brom are in form, obviously it is still West Brom, and you would expect an Arsenal team to be able to beat them, quite frankly. So Theo got an assist in the last game, so I thought we'll give him another chance in today's game. He's not played too many matches yet either. So Hayes-Bellerin is upset because he feels the squad hasn't been strengthened. Griezmann, that's my answer to him. Griezmann's on the bench, and he did come on a little bit later on as well, actually, I think. But to start off with, it was a fairly strong team to put out. Probably, you could argue it's not quite the best defence. Sessegnon's probably better than Gibbs at this point, but Gibbs and Sessegnon are roughly about on the same level. So this game was actually quite cagey at times. West Brom actually more than a match, to be fair. It was a lovely crossing by Bellerin though, and a great finish by Alexis. No one is going to be arguing that one. But in this one, Rondon got round the back of Mustafi. It was a great ball actually as well by Poulsen. Caught us totally off guard, and Rondon just slipped that one away. And then we were left with, a good half hour to get back into the game, and we had 1 or 2 chances. Alexis there, pretty tame though, straight at Foster. And then West Brom had a couple of good ones themselves as well on the counter-attack. And actually, on another day, they could have nicked this one, to be fair. I found that, defensively, the positioning was not great. Obviously, that header by Rondon was miles wide and totally different, totally lacking quality compared to his first effort, that's for certain. But, and I think there's this one as well, actually, to be fair. Yeah, I think that one's a bit more difficult. He's sort of going away from goal, his body's going away from goal, and to be able to put that back on target would have been difficult. Obviously, by far the more possession, by far more shots, but that's how football is, I'm afraid, sometimes. I wouldn't have said we deserved to win it. So, just one of them, really. One of those we can take on the chin, though. West Brom are in good form, so take it or leave it on that one, and then see how we're doing. But the most important thing, at least for me, is we're looking pretty good in terms of the table. We're up to second. Obviously, Stoke can go ahead of us. Crystal Palace can go ahead of us, but we're in a decent position, only 2 points off Man City with 7 games gone, so it's been a fairly strong start. I know we've lost a game and everything else, but yeah, no complaints from me so far. We're still in the League Cup, we're doing well won the first game in the Champions League, so there's not really too much more I can ask for. I need some players to pick up on their performance levels, but other than that, yeah, been fairly good so far. The next game is going to be a live match against Porto, just because I feel it's one of the bigger matches in this group stage, and we'll see how that goes. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you very soon.